Welcome back. So this is the continuing lecture. This is lecture number 4.3, and we were discussing how to derive HM, and we initially have proposed that HM, with the knowledge of HM, we would be able to calculate forces. And just few minutes back I told these forces would be forces acting on a abrasive grid. And there was one more hypothesis: once that is possible, forces which are acting at the global level, that is tangential and normal force acting on a wheel, we would also be able to calculate them from this HM value. So let us see how we proceed in that particular direction. I hope you can hear me. Please tell me whether you can hear me or not, any one of you.
Yes,
Okay,
sir,
fine.
yes, sir.
So relation between maximum grid density and grid size. Before we go in that particular direction, there is one more interesting thing, because few minutes back you people have suggested that to reduce HM, one way could be to reduce C. So what I am saying is that, is there a relation between maximum C and DG? So that's what we are going to see. So for that, let us draw a sheave or a mesh. So this is a part of the sheave through which the grids are sheaved so that their size can be segregated. And this is one grid sitting on that. This is the next grid, this is the next grid, this is the next grid, and this is the next grid. This grid is having a average diameter of DG. In that case, what is the pitch of them? That what is the center distance? That is also DG. So if it is DG, then per millimeter, how many such grids should be there? Let us assume this is 100 micron or 0.1 millimeter. So there would be 1 upon 0.1, 10 grids should be there per millimeter. So in algebraic form, it would be 1 upon DG. So per square millimeter, how many would be there? Per square millimeter would be 1 upon 1.01 square. Why it is 1.01? Because this is having a DG value of this. So in algebraic term, what it would be? It would be 1 upon DG square. So maximum value of a static grid density that you can get is 1 upon DG square. If someone is having a DG value of 0.1 and he is saying he would be able to give you a grinding wheel with C of 200 per millimeter square, then he is not giving you a correct information, because for this particular value C max is 100. So this has to be understood very clearly. So how do you increase C? You increase C mathematically, but practically how do you do it? You have to reduce your DG. That means you have to use finer grids. So we have two concrete solutions for reducing HM. One is increase VS, another one is increase C, and the physical solution for increasing C is that reduce DG, because C max and DG are related. So definitely if you reduce your CG, you tend to increase your Cmax. So actual C would be definitely less than Cmax, but at least they are related. If you reduce it, your C is going to increase. So this is one more thing that I thought of discussing. Now let us come to our hypothesis that if you know your chip load, if you know your HM, then you would be able to know certain things. So for that, let me write something which is global MRR and UG approach. So what I will do is that UG equal to FT into Vs divided by A into BW into VW. This is the well-known equation. After that, I am going to write something. What I will do is that this particular part I will keep aside. And for FT, I will write something like this. So what is this quantity? Number of grids on the contact area. What is this quantity? This is force, average force acting on a grid. Why do I take average force? Because there is no guarantee that this particular grid would be here. When it is here, it would be experiencing FT max. If the grid is here, it would experience FT equal to 0 because there is no chip load. If it is here, it would experience FTI, instantaneous value of FT. Where are all these grids? Let us assume there are 200 of them. Where are they situated? Are they situated here? All of them? Are they situated here? No. They are entirely distributed over this contact area. They are entirely distributed over this transient contact area. Some of them they are here, some of them they are here, some of them they are here. So they are distributed. So which is represented by their average position is represented by FT average. So FT average into C into LC into BW will give you maximum force. As because we do not know how FT varies from this point to this point at this stage, we will assume FT max equal to 2 times FT average. If you assume that, you basically assume that FT varies linearly from this point A to B. Okay, so this is a linear assumption. How much mistake can you make? So this is a normal thing to assume. Another one is Fn max is 2 times Fn average. So these two things we will assume. Once you do this, then you would be able to do something else. So you would be able to write UG equal to, from the first statement, FT average into C into LC into BW into Vs divided by A BW VW. So these two will cancel out and we will get an expression for FT average which would be something like this. Let us hope that I do not make a mistake. So it is UG by C into VW by Vs into A by ds root over. Why it is A by ds? Because here you have an A. So LC upon A, if you take out this particular term, is root over A ds by A. So that is nothing but ds by A. When it goes in the other direction, A comes in the numerator and this one comes in the denominator. If you play with these things, as you can see, we had an expression for HM which was very similar. we had an expression for HM which was very similar. HM was 3C tan alpha VW by Vs root over A by ds. Instead of HM, I will make it HM square. So what I can do is that I can write down UG into T by C VW by Vs root over ADS. This is all there. So what is not there? This tan alpha was not there and this 3 was not there. This I will write down, and I will also write down the reciprocal of that which I do not have space. So let us say here I write down tan alpha by 3. So it becomes UG tan alpha by 3 into HM square. So it becomes 1/3 UG HM square tan alpha. So if you know how much is your UG and if you calculate how much is your HM square, you can estimate how much is your FT. Other than that, you can also use this expression to calculate FT average. So there now we have an expression of FT from global material removal rate and UG approach. What I have done, I have expressed UG as power consumed divided by material removal rate, and then I have done some jugglery and I have got two expressions. One is this particular expression, another one is this particular expression. As far as this expression is concerned, as because I have done it not in a very clear way, so I would request you to recheck it. Maybe what I will do is that I'll go to the next slide, but in next slide, before using this approach, let me write down what we have got. FT average is UG by C into VW by Vs into root over ADS. So another expression for FT average is 1/3 UG HM square tan alpha. So I hope I have copied them correctly from the previous slide. Let me check once. 1/3 UG HM square tan alpha, that is there. UG by C into VW into Vs into A into ds. So what is the philosophy? If you want to reduce force working on grid, you have to reduce these two which are not acceptable because you cannot play with MRR. You can increase this which is not acceptable. You cannot increase ds indefinitely. So once again you get the same solution. Increase Vs, increase C. If you want to increase C, dg has to be reduced. Look at the other expression. Somehow if you want to reduce this one, you cannot touch this because this is a material property. You have to reduce HM. So you will get the same conclusion. Now let us see how can we take the local material removal approach and go towards finding out an expression for FT average. So local material removal approach is something like this. Local material removal rate is nothing but material removal rate at grit level. So material removal rate at grit level divided by power at grit level should give me UG. So this is our proposition. With this proposition, we will try to see. Find out how much power is consumed by a grit, what is the material removal rate at a grit, and we will, if you take the ratio, you will get UG. So first I am trying to find out material removal rate at grit level. Already we have done it, but we have not told you what is it. This is this divided by LC by Vs. This is volume of a chip group, time required to form a chip. So this one becomes 1/3 HM square tan alpha into LC. That you divide it by LC, so it becomes LC by Vs. So MRR at grit level is 1/3 HM square tan alpha, this LC cancels out, into Vs. What was your power at grid level? Power at grid level is FT average into Vs. So FT average into Vs divided by 1/3 HM square tan alpha Vs equal to Ug, because this is power divided by material removal rate. These two cancels out and we get the same expression, which is 1/3 HM square tan alpha into Ug. If you play with this expression, you are also going to get FT average as Ug by C into VW by Vs into root over A by ds. So this is what you are going to get. When you are using these expressions, I am very much against using these expressions. I would rather solve the problem numerically one by one. When you are using this expression, be very cautious about units, because till now we have used this as joule per millimeter cube. This is mostly expressed in micron, and you are trying to find out FT average, which is Newton. So I would suggest, it is rather difficult for students to use this kind of mixed unit approach. Put it in SI unit, put it in SI unit, or here also you put it in SI unit and then calculate. But as such, I am against using this formula. Why am I against? Because I would be deriving hundreds, if not thousands, not thousand is too much, maybe 50-60 formulas in this particular course. Is it possible for anyone to remember them? Though it is continuous evaluation, it is open book test. Despite that, if you can numerically approach a problem from physical sense, it is much better. So let's do that. So what we are trying to do is estimation of average and maximum force acting on a grid. So someone is once again trying to join. So it is a case of plant surface grinding. It is a case of, where am I? Plant surface grinding, downfeed is given, diameter is given, this is given, work speed is given, grid density is maximum of that, average grid size is given. So you have to calculate, what you have to calculate no one knows. So you have to calculate first average and maximum. So you will solve the problem, but I will give you the pathway. Do not use the equation. Instead of that, do something else. First thing is that you calculate LC. This is the first thing you should calculate. Second thing you should calculate is LC into BW, which is the contact area. Third thing you should calculate is C into LC into BW. That means number of grids on the contact area. Fourth thing you should calculate is FT. How do you calculate FT? UG and other process parameters are given. Fifth thing you should do is FT equal to FT average into C into LC into BW. You can use this simple expression, average value into number of grids. From that, you can calculate this particular quantity. Now there is a catch. How do you get C? C has been given as 50% of C max. And how do you get C max? C max and DG are related. DG is given as 150 micron. So from that, you can calculate C. So I would take rest and you have to start calculating this. One more thing, as nothing has been mentioned, you take LC equal to LG. Though I have mentioned that in friction in finish form grinding LC equal to 2G, for the time being, as nothing has been mentioned, you use LC equal to LG. So please solve this particular problem. So anyone please unmute yourself and tell me how much is LC? How much is LC? LC equal to root over ADS. So this is root over 0.045 into 200. This is how much? 3 millimeter. LC into BW, this is the contact area. So it is LC into BW. LC is 3 millimeter and BW width of the workpiece is 10 millimeters. So this is 30 millimeter square. Next one is this one, number of grids on the contact area. To calculate that, I have to get Cmax. Cmax is 1 upon dg's square, which is Cmax equal to 1 upon 0.151 square. So I think this will come out to be around 36. Let me calculate. No, this is coming out to be 43.8. So 44. So C I'll take it as 22. Achha, now this one becomes, number of grids becomes 22 into 30. So hopefully it is 660 number of grids. Now you need to calculate FT. For calculation of FT, FT equal to UG into material removal rate divided by VS. UG has been given as, have I given UG? No. UG, have I given it? No. So let us say UG is, it is 45, is it not? So it is around 30 joule per millimeter cube. So this becomes 30 into MRR. MRR is how much? MRR is A, 0.045 into VW. Work speed has been given. Yes, it is 100. So it is 100. Width is 10 divided by VS. How much is my VS? VS is 50. So FT comes out to be 27 Newton. So after this, what you have to do is that you have to calculate FT average, and FT average would be FT divided by CLCBW. So this is 27 Newton divided by 660. So instead of expressing it in Newton, I will express it in millinewton. So I can put 3 zeros here. So it becomes 27,000 divided by 660, which is around, it's a nice number, FT average is around 41 millinewton. Now you have been asked to calculate something else as well. You have been asked to calculate FT max. FT max is 82 millinewton. In this way, not only FT average or FT max, you can also calculate FN average and FN max. Only thing is that you need to know the relation between FN and FT, either capital FN or capital FT, or small FN and small FT. The relation would be same, because capital FT and small ft, they are simply multiplied by number of grids on the grinding zone. So it is not very difficult. So Fn would be also similar. So in this way you can solve this problem. Now the question comes, this is an academic exercise. Where is the industrial relevance? For industrial relevance, we will go to the next slide and see how important it is to be able to calculate this. This is a free slide where I am going to give you that. Say for example, you have a grit like this. You have a grinding wheel like this. So this is the grade of the grinding wheel, which is also known as hardness. The physical meaning of this is bond strength, which can be further clarified as force required to dislodge a grit by bond fracture. So if this is a grit, this is another grit, this is another grit, we have already discussed that they are connected by this bond post, particularly if they are vitrified bonded. And what is related to hardness? These grits are subjected to a tangential force Ft. So if Ft exceeds a particular Ft critical, then this bond fracture takes place. So this bond grade decides this Ft star. Now say for example, in a particular case, this bond strength has been given as 100 millinewton, and you have been asked how to maximize its potential use. What do you mean by this? This is a political expression of maximize its potential use. What do I mean by this? You have to have a value of A in such a manner so that your Ft max, which was calculated earlier, almost reaches Ft star but without exceeding it. So this is not the proper sign. This is the proper sign. It is just less than Ft max. If that happens, that is the maximum value of A that you can use. So how a numerical problem will look like? Let me give you a numerical problem. We are not going to solve that numerical problem because it is rather involved. So what I will do is that I will give you a numerical problem and you have to solve it. It did not have to be submitted, but you have to solve it. As simple as that. It is up to you whether you solve it or not. Earlier we have used a numerical problem which was like this. I do not know whether this is correct or not, where UG was in joule per millimeter cube and A was in micron. This is an empirical equation. To get that, you have to use this. So what you are trying to say is that FT average was 1/3. Was it 1/3? No, it was not 1/3. FT average we have derived it as UG by C into VW by Vs into root over A by ds, and this becomes FT max, which is 2 times UG by C into VW by Vs into root over A by ds. Now this UG is a function of A, and here you have an A. This is known to you, this one is known to you, this one is known to you, this is known to you. Only thing which is unknown is this particular value, and UG being a function of A, it is also unknown. So FT max is known. How much was it given? It was 100 millinewton, or 100 into 10 to the power minus 3 Newton if you go in SI unit. So once you are done, you would be able to find out what is the value of A, which is which will maximum it will use the maximum potential of the grid. What do you mean by maximum potential of the grid? Say for example, I am giving you an example. A comes out to be 37 micron. I do not know the answer. A comes out to be 37 micron. So if you use it at 20 micron, then bond fracture will not occur because FT max will not reach. If you use it at 10 micron, bond fracture will not occur. Would you not use it at 10 and 20 micron? Yes, definitely. If your requirement says that 10 and 20 micron has to be used, fine. But if you are doing rough grinding, you try to enhance your A, and in that case, instead of 37 micron, if you go for 40 micron, what would happen? Bond fracture will take place. That means the wheel will automatically your grids, abrasive grids will start coming out, which is not at all desirable. So to avoid that and maximize the potential, you should take A as maybe 35, 36, so that you are just below the FT star, that is the bond strength, but you do not induce any bond fracture, and you can do rough grinding. So this was our story of module number 4. Next module is, I have to check what is the next module. So let me get rid of this particular thing. This we have shown earlier. So what we have done, contact length, we know how to estimate, we know how to measure. So measurement of contact length is also done. Grinding path we have evaluated. What are active grids? Those we have done. From active grids, the concept of static C and dynamic C comes. Why you have a dynamic C, that we have calculated. Measurement of active grids, that we have shown, that is not shown, that I have demonstrated through Shaw's technique, and estimation of maximum grid depth of cut. These are done. Beyond that, what we have done is relation between HM UG, this we have done. HM FT average, this we have done, and this has been done using two approaches. One is global MRR approach, another one is grid level or local MRR approach. With both of them we have done. What are the takeaways? HM is rather less, rather much smaller as compared to A1 in machining, and this is the main reason you have ploughing and primary rubbing being prevalent in grinding, but their effect is not so much in machining. This is one reason. Other reason is that in grinding, rake angle is highly negative. So these are the reasons. So as you can see, we started with a very simple thing. We spent a not significant amount, but some amount of time describing you what are the different types of grinding and all those things. Those were technical in nature. So you will get that kind of paper in technology subjects. But now gradually we are going into the theories where you can estimate things, you can correlate a simple thing like bond strength with how far that bond can be utilized. You can correlate lot many basic grinding specification with HM. Say for example, does HM gets affected whether you use a smaller grit or larger grit? Yes, if you use larger grit, you cannot reduce C beyond a particular value. Why can you not reduce? Because we have told C max is 1 upon dg square. So if this is large, this would be small. So if you have to reduce HM, C has to be large. For that, dg has to be used. And not only in qualitative level, we have derived expressions using very simple logic. We have derived equations and relationships. They can be used. One more advice from my side, lot of equations should be derived. Do not get bogged down by that because of two reasons. You can always take a numerical approach. That we have done here. We did not use any not this one. We did not use any equation. Here you have to use equation. There is no other solution because you are trying to find an unknown. Here we did not use lot of equations. These are very simple things that you can derive within a second. The only thing that we have done is this one. Only thing we have done is this one. Okay. So that is the takeaway. Do not get bogged down. The second thing is that all your examinations should be open book. There is nothing wrong with open book examination because you are solving the problem. Our intention is that you learn to solve the problems. So whether you have access to open references or not, I am not bothered. I have never been bothered. So this time also I am not bothered. Everything would be open book. So you need not have the burden of knowing everything. Otherwise, I used to give them in my question paper most of the equations. So with that, we will close today's lecture and I'll once again take the attendance. Vinit Malik, what is happening to this?
Present, sir.
What happens to you? You did not respond earlier. Okay, I have given you attendance for the first part of the course class as well.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Shiva Shankar, I have understood you are present. Thank you. Please mute yourself. Kailash Raja.
Yes, sir.
Vipul Kumar. Harsh. Arpit Patel.
Present.
Shantanu. Ashok. Ankit.
Sir.
Anup Kumar Singh.
Present, sir.
Muralidhar.
Present, sir.
Muralidhar, are you using a mobile or are you using laptop?
Sir, I am using.
You are using mobile. While giving attendance or while talking to me, keep your mobile at least 6 inches away from you. And in that particular case, your voice would not get muffled or it would not have harshness to that extent. Okay.
Okay.
So let me talk to you for some time. So have you taken breakfast today? Oh, that's very good. You have taken breakfast before 8. Very good boy. Okay. Ritesh. So Muralidhar, please remember that all of you, those who are using mobile or a earphone, do not bring your mic part of the earphone or mobile very near to your very near to your mouth. Keep a 6-inch distance, then your voice would be very clear. Girish,
Present, sir.
Gajanan,
Present, sir.
Durganand,
Present, sir.
Rohitash, Sarjil. Okay, thank you so much. One last information. Tomorrow there is a possibility that you have to appear for the fourth quiz, and fourth quiz would be on grinding wheel Have you appeared on something which is on grinding wheel specification? No. Any one of you please unmute. Girish or Gajanan, anyone? Girish, please. Have you, Durganand, have you appeared, have I given you any quiz on grinding wheel specifications? No. So tomorrow there would be a quiz on grinding wheel specification, characteristics and fabrication technique. Once again, it is open book, so you would be having all resources. This would possibly be a quiz for 40 minutes to 45 minutes. It might be an 1 hour quiz. That I have not decided. I haven't said the question. But tomorrow there would be a quiz. Please prepare for that. Tomorrow our class is from 12, so the quiz would also start from 12. Thank you so much.